Okay, so buckle up, because this time we're really going deep. We're diving into Enrique Aurelli's Punto de quiebre.
Breaking point.
Yeah, exactly. And it's heavy stuff, global crises, the fate of humanity, all that.
Right, right. And Aureli doesn't hold back. It's like he's pulling from all these different directions. I mean, we're talking Toynbee, even Ibn Khaldun that's going way back.
And what's really wild is how he ties it all into what's happening right now with Milei gaining so much traction in Argentina.
It is kind of eerie how relevant it all feels. Like when Aureli starts with Toynbee's warning about, unity or catastrophe.
Yeah, that choice.
And it's like, haven't we heard that before? Like throughout history over and over?
But, okay, here's where Aureli throws us a curveball.
Yeah.
He's not exactly on board with this whole world unity idea.
Yeah, he actually sees it as, well, potentially dangerous, especially now with all this talk about a world government,
Okay, so that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder, is that really the answer? A single global power? It doesn't sit right, does it?
Aureli would say, not so fast. He actually points to the pandemic. Like, think about it. Suddenly, you had this global justification for control, for restrictions. It's like a glimpse into how easily that global good narrative can be, well, kind of twisted.
So it's less about everyone holding hands and more like, be careful what you wish for.
Exactly. And the idea that a world government could just magically appear out of nowhere, Aureli calls that naive. I mean, look at how strong nationalism still is.
Yeah, like countries are going to just give up their power.
History doesn't exactly inspire confidence there, does it?
So, okay, if a world government isn't the answer, then what is?
Well, Aureli goes pretty deep here. He brings in Sartre. Yeah, the existentialist guy.
We're about to get philosophical.
Yeah, a little bit. But so Aureli focuses on this idea from Sartre that, okay, maybe finding a universal moral code, that's impossible.
Yeah.
But what we all share as humans is the experience of morality itself, like that struggle, with what's right and wrong.
We all go through it.
Exactly. No matter who you are, where you come from, we all face those dilemmas.
So it's not about having the same answers, more like we're all asking the same questions.
Exactly. And Sartre connects this to our basic needs, food, shelter, love, knowledge. These are fundamental.
Makes sense. We need those things to survive, really.
Right. And because of that, they kind of form the foundation, the bedrock of any system of morality.
It makes you wonder about how technology plays into this, especially the stuff controlled by, big companies, governments.
Like if our needs are being met.
Yeah, do we really control our access to information, our ability to connect with people, really connect in a meaningful way?
That's huge. And it gets to the core of what Aureli is saying. He takes this Sartre idea, integral humanity, where everyone has the potential to thrive. But here's the thing. Aureli says this can only happen when we, collectively, control the conditions that let us meet those basic needs.
Now we're talking about real change. Because to really control those conditions, doesn't that mean rethinking our entire system? Like everything.
That's what Aureli's arguing. It's a radical idea.
Okay, so we're talking about collective action, meeting everyone's needs, right? And then, boom, Aureli hits us with tribalism.
Yeah, he goes there.
Really dives into how dangerous it can be.
And he brings up a good point. Look at history. It's full of examples of how us versus them thinking.
It's scary how often it pops up.
It's like we're capable of so much empathy, but then we draw these lines.
Yeah, where's the line between, harmless group identity and, full-blown danger?
Right. Are we all just one little push away from turning on each other?
Yeah.
To understand that, Aureli brings up Henri Tacheville's research.
Yeah.
So picture this. You're in an experiment.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's pretty simple, actually. You just got to look at a screen, estimate how many dots are there. Yeah, dots. Doesn't really matter how many you guess, though. Because here's the thing. They then tell you. You're either an overestimator or an underestimator.
Okay. So, they're putting you in a group.
Exactly. But it's totally random.
So it doesn't even matter what I guessed.
Nope. Then they ask you to, distribute rewards. Money, whatever, among the other people in the experiment.
Wait, so the groups are, meaningless?
Totally meaningless. But here's the crazy part. People consistently gave more to their own group.
Even though the groups were made up.
Completely made up. It shows how quickly we latch onto that us and them mentality.
It's kind of terrifying when you think about it. We can be manipulated so easily.
Right, and it gets deeper. Aureli brings in Emile Durkheim. He talked about this switch in our brains, this homo duplex. We have an individual side, but also a collective side.
When you're at a concert, Everyone's feeling the music.
Yeah, or political rally, or even just like super engaged in an online community. That feeling of belonging, of being part of something bigger. Durkheim believed that rituals are what flip that switch.
And we're kind of hardwired for this stuff, huh?
It's in our nature. And Aureli's point is that figures like Milei, they know how to use that. They tap into those instincts, those tribal urges.
So is there even hope? Can we overcome that?
Aureli thinks so. He says we have the capacity to choose unity, to look past our differences and see our shared humanity.
But he also seems pretty clear about the fact that we haven't been great at that so far.
And the stakes are higher than ever, right? With everything going on in the world. It's a lot to think about. Aureli doesn't give us all the answers, but he makes us confront some hard truths about ourselves, about our history, and, about the very real chance that we might be repeating it.
Definitely makes you stop and think. Right. And he doesn't shy away from the dark side of these trends. Like with Milei, he's pointing out that seductive rhetoric, those promises of easy answers, it's a familiar story. One that often ends badly, with division, with violence.
With society's unraveling. It's scary stuff, but we can't just ignore it, right?
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, Aureli leaves us with a challenge. He says if we're at a breaking point, and the choices we make now really matter, then we need to understand what's going on within ourselves, within our world. And maybe, just maybe, we can find a different way forward.